You're listening to Myers-Briggs Question Corner with Edythe Richards.
Today's Myers-Briggs relationship question comes from Terry. I'm an INTJ and my husband is an ISTJ. What are some relationship pitfalls that we may experience, and what are some strategies to help us get back on track? So let me first start by saying that regardless of one's Myers-Briggs type, it's my belief and the belief of most practitioners that any two well-developed, healthy people of any type can have a successful relationship. The Myers-Briggs may be useful in predicting some successes and challenges that various relationships will face, but of course there's no foolproof method for predicting relationship success with any assessment or tool. Relationships are difficult to measure or predict, and there may be so many dynamics that come into play that the Myers-Briggs doesn't measure, so it's important that I state that first. Now, let's take a closer look at the ISTJ and INTJ pairing. I'll start with the good first. Because both types are introverted thinkers, both will have a minimal need for expressing emotions. Both will appreciate no-nonsense communication without emotional baggage being brought into decisions. They can be direct without fear of offending the other. Both will want their space and will most likely respect each other's privacy. Both understand the other's need for solitude. Because both are judging types and therefore likely organized, planful, and decisive, they'll probably have a neat and tidy home and will probably be good with budgeting and sticking to schedules. Many sensing and intuitive couples find that they balance each other out. The sensor will appreciate the vision and dreams of the intuitive, while the intuitive will appreciate the acuity and detail-oriented nature of the sensor. Many intuitives find that their sensor spouse brings them back to common sense or reality and allows them to focus, and sensors become more insightful and future-focused due to their intuitive partners. ISTJ types will probably be in awe of the INTJ's intellectual nature, creativity, and intensity, and this may help the ISTJ consider a worldview that he or she may not have otherwise. While INTJ types will admire the ISTJ's ability to get things done and notice details they may have missed. Now, the ISTJ and INTJ couple may have only one letter difference, but because this difference is sensing and intuition, this means that these two people see the same information in very different ways. If we recall, sensors are tuned into sensory information, what's immediately available to see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. They're detail-oriented, pragmatic, and realistic. Intuitives, on the other hand, are tuned into their sixth sense, that abstract world of possibilities, theories, and intangible information not immediately available to the senses. As a result, sensors and intuitives may face challenges in communication. In fact, the ISTJ and INTJ couple could be talking about exactly the same thing and come to the exact same conclusion, but misunderstand each other's questions because they ask questions in different ways. In order to understand a question, ISTJs need details presented in a step-by-step manner, while INTJ's focus is on the implications, and they may find details tedious to explain. Along these lines, if the couple does not have a common interest, they may find that they have nothing to talk about, and they may struggle to keep the conversation going because of their introverted natures. Both may have a tendency to keep their thoughts so deep inside that they drift apart into their own worlds, failing to talk things out and develop an understanding that comes from discussing their issues. Furthermore, INTJ types believe that anything can be improved, so it's natural for them to enter a relationship this way, making assumptions about how the relationship could be. When things stay the same, it may make the INTJ restless, and this is the very opposite of what the ISTJ needs, which is familiar stability. ISTJs like the conventional, doing things as they've always been done. They may have a hard time with what they see as nonconformist ideas. ISTJs are dutiful traditionalists who believe in a right way of doing things and sticking to their agreements, and this may be at odds with the INTJ's way of coming up with something unique, new, and worthwhile. Finally, because both INTJs and ISTJs typically aren't very flexible people, they may butt heads. ISTJs feel very strongly about honoring their commitments, while INTJs may find it difficult when people and projects don't live up to their standards. Now, what I'm going to talk about next are some personal strategies for the ISTJ and INTJ relationship. I'll start with what the ISTJ should recognize and can do. Understand that your INTJ spouse is an intellectual and needs an outlet for this, and this may be something that you deem impractical. Give them that space to pursue their interests in their own way. If possible, focus on the big picture first and then fill in the details. Once your INTJ partner has an understanding of an idea or a theory, it's much easier for them to fill in the steps to get there. Remember that it's stressful for your INTJ partner to be bogged down in details. Make sure you compliment your partner on his or her ingenuity or creativity. Don't hide the admiration that you have for your INTJ partner. Include them in the things that you do. Even though they may seem disinterested, secretly they'll probably appreciate your thoughtfulness and care. For the INTJ, here's what you can recognize and do. Try not to be so quick to cut through the details just because you can see the end of the path. Your partner may see the same ending, but it may be in the details where the validation for your idea comes from. Don't assume that your partner knows what you want. Make it obvious that you're open to discussion, especially about negative areas. Be willing to explain your limitations and be willing to accept your ISTJ partners as well. Remember that your ISTJ partner doesn't necessarily see things or communicate in the same way that you do. ISTJs need clarity. They're not mind readers. They may not have any idea of the silent world you're living in, so make it real for them. With the right understanding and appreciation of the similarities and differences, ISTJ and INTJ types are certainly able to have a rich, meaningful, and happy relationship. And this again goes for any two healthy, well-adjusted people. Thanks for the question, Terry. If you have a Myers-Briggs relationship question, please feel free to get in touch, and I'll answer it in a future podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you'd like to hear more, or you'd like to submit a question yourself, then you can find us at www.atopcareer.com. Until next time. MBTI and Myers-Briggs are registered trademarks of the MBTI Trust.